Hello, students. Good morning. I hope that everyone is fine at home and you have started learning as we have started the lectures for our school. If you remember, in the last session, we started with language of chemistry and we have done the concept of symbol and we learned symbols of various elements. Then we learned valency, how to find out the valency of elements. Also, we learned about radicals, that is positive radical and negative radical. Today, we are going to learn about chemical formula. But for chemical formula, we need to learn first thing is radicals along with the valency. Now, when I say we need to learn, in the last lecture, if you remember, I told you we can find out the valency of an element with the help of electronic configuration. Just to recall, if an element has 1, 2 or 3 electrons in the valence shell, its valence is 1, 2 and 3 respectively. Also we can include 4 in this. If the number of electrons in the valence shell is 5, 6, 7 or 8. If the element has valence electrons 5, its valency would be 3. If you can recall, the formula was 8 minus the number of electrons in the valence shell for elements having 5, 6 or 7 electrons in their valence shell. Now 8 minus 5 is 3. If the element has 6 electrons in the valence shell, 8 minus 6 is 2. If the element has 7 electrons in the valence shell, its valence should be 8 minus 7, that is 1. If the element has 8 electrons in the valence shell, we can remember the word octet. That means 8 minus 8 is 0, because as it has 8 electrons in the valence shell, it will have 0 valency. That means it is stable. Now, first thing we should understand is what actually is chemical formula. Chemical formula is the symbolic representation of a molecule, of element or compound. Now when I say representation of molecule, like when we say water, water is formed due to the combination of hydrogen and oxygen. But why we can question this, that why does the formula of water is, or why is the formula of water H2O not HO2, or why is H written in the front and O afterwards? It is because whenever you are writing a chemical formula, the cation is written at the first, that is on the left hand side, and the anion is written on the right hand side. We are going to look into this. First, let us understand what information does chemical formula provide. The first thing which we come to know about after looking at the chemical formula is it represents the name of the compound. Like if I say NaCl, from this word you can clearly understand that I am talking about sodium chloride, that is common salt. If I say H2O, that means we come to know we are talking about water. If I say NH3, we come to know that we are talking about ammonia. Now if you have heard the examples very clearly, when I am using chemical formula, I am also representing the number of atoms present in that molecule. Like for example, in case of sodium chloride, we have one atom of sodium and one atom of chlorine. Similarly, in the molecular formula of water, we can come to know that water consists of 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. Similarly, again in ammonia, we have the molecular formula as NH3. That means it has 1 atom of nitrogen and 3 atoms of hydrogen. So, third thing which a chemical formula conveys or informs us is it represents the actual mass of the substance used. Now this part, that is the third part, what is actual mass, I'll be teaching you in the next lecture when I'll be teaching you molecular mass. But for now, please remember, it gives you the mass of the compound by knowing the mass of the element. Now, how to write a chemical formula? One point I've given you earlier in the introduction part itself, that the symbol of cation with valency written on the left hand side and anion with valency is written on the right hand side. Now divide the valency with HCF if any, and then interchange the valency. Ignore plus and minus sign charge. Bring valencies in subscript. I'll show an example where you can understand better, because just in the theoretical part it's very difficult for us to understand. So now let's take an example of manganese dioxide. Now we know that in manganese dioxide we have one atom of manganese and two atoms of oxygen. If you remember, oxide means oxygen. If I have the word dioxide, that means it contains two atoms of oxygen. We have learnt in 7th standard, if you remember, I taught you mono means 1, di means 2, tri means 3, tetra means 4, and penta means 5, and so on. So from this name, that is manganese dioxide, I can clearly say manganese has Mn plus 4, that means manganese has valency plus 4, and oxygen has valency minus 2. So we confused how dioxide when I am using only O minus 2. Now please remember, as I said, once you have written the name of the cation with its valency and that of anion with its valency, you have to go ahead and cross multiply the numbers. That means you have to put plus 4 on the right hand side as a subscript and minus 2 on the left hand side as the subscript. Now if you remember the second point, you can see on the screen, divide the valency with HCF. That means here my highest common factor is 2. So I will divide 2 by 2 and 4 by 2. When I divide 2 by 2 in manganese, balance, the remaining is 1. We do not write 1 in chemical formula. And 4 by 2 is 2. So my remaining product is MnO2. That is the formula of manganese dioxide. To be very specific, that is the chemical formula of manganese dioxide. Now I believe you have understood why I have used the word dioxide, because in this compound, the final chemical formula, I have one atom of manganese and two atoms of oxygen. Therefore the name given is manganese dioxide. Now let's take some common example so that we can understand how to find out the chemical formula of a compound. Now let's start with the example of water. In case of water, what happens is you have H2O. Now we know that hydrogen has valency plus 1 and oxygen has valency minus 2. If you can remember, hydrogen has valency plus 1 and oxygen has valency minus 2. So it will be H plus 1 O minus 2. What I will do is I will cross multiply. That means I will bring plus 1 on the right hand side without its charge and minus 2 on the left hand side without the minus sign. Because when you are cross multiplying, you will not bring down the charges of cation or anion, you will only bring down the numbers. Now here I can see that it is not divisible, it will not have any HCF value, so my formula is H2O. Please remember, we do not write 1 here. So let's take some examples, students, so that we can go ahead and practice the chemical formula of different compounds. Now let's calculate the molecular formula of ammonia. Now from the word ammonia, I can clearly see that ammonia consists of nitrogen and hydrogen. Now those who missed out on the basics of 7th standard or 8th standard, let's do some hard work and try to cover up those difficulties. Now guys, in the next few examples, I'm going to the basic part. That means I'm going to start with finding out the valency of an element, and then using that valency to form the compound. So that becomes a regular practice for us. Now nitrogen has atomic number 7, therefore its electronic configuration is 2 5, and as it has 5 electrons in the valence shell, we will subtract 5 from 8. That means the valency of nitrogen is 3. We know that atomic number of hydrogen is 1, so its valency is 1. So we have calculated the valency of nitrogen and hydrogen. So what we are going to do? We are going to put in N plus 3 and H minus 1. You may be confused that how N became plus 3 and H became minus 1. My dear friends, H, as I told you earlier in 8th standard also, that H is a mystery for all the chemistry teachers as well as for the chemistry engineers, because H can be positive in some cases and H can be negative in some cases. For example, H was taken as positive, hydrogen was taken as positive in case of water, and it is taken as negative in case of ammonia. So we can now recall our steps. We have to cross multiply, that means N1 without the charge and H3. So the formula of ammonia is NH3. Now let's see that how many of us are able to calculate the formula or derive the chemical formula from the elements given. So you can start doing with me. I will hold my voice for 30 seconds so that you can start practicing it. Now let's calculate the chemical formula, or let's derive the chemical formula of sodium chloride. So please everyone take out your notebooks and start doing it. I will go a little slower so that you can check that your answers or your derivation is correct or wrong. So now in case of sodium chloride, I have Na, that is sodium, and chlorine. As I told you, I will be going slower with the basics so everyone in the class can understand what we are doing. Now sodium has atomic number 11, electronic configuration 281. So its valency would be 1. And what will be a charge? Plus 1, because it is donating 1 electron. At the same time, chlorine has atomic number 17, electronic configuration 287. It is going to accept 1 electron. Please remember 8 minus 7 is 1. So its valency is minus 1. As I told you earlier, if you remember, we are not going to say valency plus 1 or minus 1. While talking about valency, we will always say the numbers 1, 2, 3 or 4. Valency cannot be more than 4. Now sodium will have plus 1 valency and chlorine will have minus 1 valency. For the simplification part, if your numbers are same, you can go ahead and cancel those numbers. Like if you have plus 1 and minus 1 here, directly you can cancel the numbers, or you can perform the same thing, that you can cross multiply Na1 and Cl1, and as I told you, we do not write number 1 in chemistry, so the formula directly becomes NaCl. I hope that most of you have got it right, and if it's so, I'm really happy that we are on the right path. Now let us consider certain elements, certain compounds which has diatomic radicals. Now those who are little worried, let me explain you which diatomic radicals I am talking about. Like hydroxide OH minus, sulfate SO4 minus 2, nitrate NO3 minus 1, alright, and so on. You can refer the textbook, you will got all the radicals which are there in our syllabus. Mostly we are going to use 7 radicals which are diatomic. Like OH minus is known as hydroxide, SO4 minus 2 is known as sulfate, NO3 minus 1 is known as nitrate. Other diatomic radicals which are going to use is PO4 minus 3, which is known as phosphate. Now let's look at some chemical formula having these diatomic radicals. The best example is king of acid. The king of acid is sulfuric acid. So the molecular formula or the chemical formula of sulfuric acid has two radicals. First one is hydrogen, that is H plus 1, and second one is sulfate, that is SO4 minus 2. Please remember, we only interchange the upper L numbers, we do not change the subscript. So we will cross multiply, we'll bring 2 on the left hand side without the charge and 1 on the right hand side without the charge. As I have SO4 already, so I'll put it in bracket and put 1. As 1 does not have any value, so it is H2SO4. Now let's take one more example to understand this. My next compound or chemical formula which I want to derive is calcium hydroxide. Now from the word itself you are able to recognize what I am talking. When I am talking about calcium hydroxide, it is Ca plus 2, and I believe most of you have got it right. It is hydroxide is OH minus 1. Now here some of you may have this question, when I am cross multiplying, will this 2 be only for hydrogen or will it be for both hydrogen and oxygen? So my dear friend, when you are cross multiplying, as OH minus is a diatomic radical, this number 2 is for both oxygen and hydrogen. So how should we write this? What we'll do is calcium plus 1, we will not take the plus and the subscript, and OH should be written in bracket, and outside the bracket you should write 2. This 2 outside the bracket indicates that this 2 is applicable for both oxygen and hydrogen. So the chemical formula of calcium hydroxide will be CaOH twice. Now if you remember, few moments ago I spoke about that we can cancel the terms if the numbers are same or the values are same. Now let's see an example of magnesium sulfate. Now we know that magnesium has atomic number 12, electronic configuration 282, therefore valency is 2, so its radical will be Mg plus 2. At the same time we have to mug up this sulfate ion for some of the days. Again it will come to you with your practice, it will be known to you. So here I have plus 2 and minus 2, so I can cancel it. So the formula will become MgSO4. If you do the earlier method also which I was talking about, while doing the cross multiplication, again you can cross multiply this, it will become Mg2 in the bracket SO4 whole twice. Now it is 2 is the highest common factor, so 2 by 2 and 2 by 2, your formula will again become MgSO4. Whichever way you find it easier, you can follow that path. So I believe now we are clear with how to calculate the molecular formula, that is the chemical formula. Please remember, molecular formula and chemical formula, they are one and the same thing. When I say chemical formula, that means the chemical or symbolic representation of a compound having 2 or more elements. So students, as a practice, please copy down the names of the elements of the compounds and try to practice it. In case of difficulty, you can let me know. The first compound would be carbon dioxide. Again I am repeating, the first element is carbon dioxide. Everyone please write it fast. The second compound would be potassium nitrate. If you remember, I give you the valency of nitrate, that is NO3 minus 1. So my second compound is potassium nitrate. Third compound is calcium sulfate. Third chemical formula is calcium sulfate. Fourth one would be magnesium hydroxide. Now we have taken much easier examples, so let's take some twisted examples which have common name known. The fifth one would be nitric acid. It is spelled as NiTric, nitric acid. Sixth one is carbonic acid. Students, in case of difficulty, you can refer your books for the chemical formula of these compounds also. The next compound would be methane. Now you have learned about methane from your 6th standard, so you are aware of the chemical formula, that is CH4, but you have to show the calculation part. Alright guys, so I hope that we are clear with our concept of chemical formula. In the next session, we are going to understand how to name a chemical compound. So we'll be focusing on naming of chemical compound. In the meanwhile, what you can do is, you can read the first 7 pages of your textbooks. Apart from this homework of finding out the chemical formula of the compounds which are given you, I want you to go ahead and read the textbook and find out the answers of these questions. My first question is, what is the qualitative and quantitative significance of symbol? My first question which you have to find out from the textbook is, what is the qualitative and quantitative significance of the symbol? And for a hint, or as a hint, it is given on the first page of your lesson. The second question is, you have to find out the names of those elements with their symbol or whose symbol are derived from their Latin names. If you remember my first lecture, we have done certain elements in the example, like sodium, symbol is Na and the Latin name is natrium. So in your notebook, what you have to do is, you have to write the name of the element first, their Latin name and their symbols. So like for example, iron, Latin name of iron is ferrous, so its symbol is Fe. Again, if you can add on, like if you can write the valency also with that, that will be really helpful to you for your next, that is 10th standard. Trust me guys, more you practice chemistry, easier it becomes. Do not try to put shortcuts in it. Alright, so from your textbook you can see the periodic chart or periodic table, or in the next chapter also they have given you all the elements name with their symbols. So you can go ahead through all the names and you can decide which are the Latin name. It's very easier. If it's not an English name, you will have the word different and the symbol different. Like in case of iron, iron starts with I, but the symbol is Fe. So you can clearly come to know that these are the Latin names, and the Latin names are given in the textbook. So I hope that we have understood these things. I've given you very simple homework. I believe everyone will complete it. And when we come to next class, then we'll be learning about naming of chemical formula, and after that we'll also learn how to find out the molecular mass of a compound or molecular formula of a compound. Alright, so thank you guys and have a great day.